What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. Now that the World Series matchup has been decided, we are very close to the full-on offseason with these Toronto Blue Jays, right? I am talking qualifying offers. I am talking free agents. I am talking trades. They have a ton of holes to fill, and they got to start addressing them very soon. Zooming out and looking at the team as a whole, right? The bullpen. Very good, but they're going to be losing some pieces there. We don't know what's going on with Adam Simber. We don't know what's happening with Jordan Hicks, so there's holes to fill in that direction. The rotation, incredible, right? The rotation was incredible last year. However, walking into this next year, no Hyun-Jin Ryu. Who is going to fill that hole? And then the offense, right? I mean, we've spoken in depth about this Toronto Blue Jays offense. Good, but just not good enough, and they are losing a ton of pieces, right? Kevin Kiermaier and Brandon Belt and Whit Merrifield, so there is so much that needs to be addressed on the offensive side of the ball if the Toronto Blue Jays want to take it to the next level. Pun not intended. Now on this channel, as you folks know, we look at everything Toronto Blue Jays, right? And because we are starting to approach that offseason, I wanted to start looking at some very legitimate trade targets that these Toronto Blue Jays, they are probably going to be looking at in a few weeks. So today, folks, we're going to be looking at a pretty huge trade scenario that I actually can't take credit for. Bleacher Report very recently released an article where they predicted one trade for every single MLB team this offseason, and they have a big one for the Toronto Blue Jays. The article proposes outfielder Lane Thomas acquired from the Washington Nationals in exchange for infielder Addison Barger, right-handed pitcher Chad Dallas, and first baseman Spencer Horwitz. Now, before I give my 2 cents on this, folks, and I definitely have thoughts on this proposal, and I encourage you guys to comment your thoughts down below in the comments, let's take a look at their reasoning. They say, with Kevin Kiermaier set to hit free agency after posting a 3.9 WAR season while playing on a 1-year, $9 million deal, the Toronto Blue Jays have a hole to fill in the outfield. Dalton Varsho can shift over and be the everyday center fielder, which opens up corner outfielders as potential targets. And Lane Thomas was one of the most popular names on the market at the trade deadline in the midst of a breakout season. So one thing that I can say for sure that Bleacher Report is right on here is that Lane Thomas was and is going to be a popular name, right? Last year, he had an incredibly nice season, folks. The guy hit for a 268 batting average, had an OPS of 783, he stole 20 bags, had over 100 runs. Like, the dude was just, he was all over the field. And Lane Thomas is still relatively young. He's 28 years old right now, so he's just entering the prime of his career. And players like this, right? Players who are stealing bags and scoring runs and coming up clutch when your team needs you to come up clutch. These players are the foundation of what makes a good playoff team. And to add a little bit more heat to this proposal, this actually isn't the first time that the Toronto Blue Jays, they've been linked to Lane Thomas. There were countless rumors circulating around the trade deadline that this guy would have been perfect for the Toronto Blue Jays, right? Just somebody to come in to help that offense to come up clutch in key situations. And I mean, watching the Toronto Blue Jays in the playoffs, considering how that whole thing went down, safe to say that those rumors were onto something. Defensively speaking, Thomas isn't great. Basically, he's got like a really good arm, but not incredible when it comes to fielding. So kind of like a Lourdes Gurriel Jr. player profile out in the field. So just looking on the surface, is this a player that I would want on the Toronto Blue Jays? Absolutely, man. Are you kidding me? Lane Thomas to come into this team would be huge for these Toronto Blue Jays. You could put him batting second, right? And you have Guerrero and you got Bichette batting behind him. The amount of runs that he would score for these Toronto Blue Jays, it'd be huge. And I mean, the stolen bases alone is something that intrigues me because these Toronto Blue Jays, they were not stealing bags in 2023, and that is just an element of the game that they need to get better at. It should also be noted that contractually speaking, it works out perfect for these Jays. Lane Thomas, he's got 2 years left on his deal, arbitration 2 and arbitration 3, and when you're thinking about the core of these Jays, you know, Guerrero and Bo Bichette, that's their timeline as well, folks. 2 years left of these dudes locked in for sure. So Lane Thomas, he actually fits the window pretty perfectly. So yes, I absolutely would love to have Lane Thomas on these Toronto Blue Jays, but what about what they're giving up? Whoa, time for your daily Betway breather. A quick reminder that the best place to bet is on Betway. Must be 19 years of age or older to play in collaboration with iGaming Ontario. Please bet responsibly. Now,
back to the content.
I will be completely honest here, folks. Addison Barger, sending him away, that would be a tough pill to swallow. We've actually had this guy on the show before, and I mean, he is just a phenomenal human being, right? Like, extremely motivated, and I just got that vibe. You know when you just get that vibe from somebody that's like, you're special, you know, like you're gonna do something good. That is the exact vibe that Addison Barger gives off. So I am so confident that when he comes to the MLB, he is gonna be a good player. And I mean, then when you're factoring in the fact that they are throwing in Chad Dallas, who is the 13th ranked prospect for the Toronto Blue Jays, and you're also throwing in Spencer Horwitz as well, who is the 16th ranked prospect for the Toronto Blue Jays, that is a lot of prospect capital that you're giving up for one player. Now, do not get me wrong, folks. I would love to have Lane Thomas come over and be in a Blue Jays uniform. I think that the one thing that's clouding my judgment right now might just be my Addison Barger bias. So I think looking at this trade, if there is any way that the Toronto Blue Jays could do a deal like this, but without Addison Barger on the deal, I smash that. And I mean, it should also be noted that Addison Barger, he might actually play a prominent role with these Toronto Blue Jays in 2024, right? We have no idea who that third baseman is gonna be. Could Addison Barger come up and fill a hole right there? Or could he be circulating, doing kind of like a Whit Merrifield role, right? Like second baseman and outfield? Absolutely, right? So you don't want to be giving away somebody who's gonna come in and immediately help your team like Addison Barger would. Either way, folks, I think that it is a very interesting deal, and I think the thing that I like the most about it is that the offseason hasn't even officially started yet, and people are already talking about the Toronto Blue Jays linking up with Lane Thomas, which would just be somebody who is perfect for this team. But folks, let me know what you think about all this in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, go Jays go.